Now with me today, I have the pleasure of meeting with Jeanne Curtis with Boyd Incorporated and AJ Huckaby with Springtree Restoration. We're going to talk about what the benefits are of RCAT and why you should look for a contractor within the organization. So guys, tell me, you guys are both license holders and part of the organization.
So Mike, I've been with RCAT. I joined RCAT, I believe it was 2012 or 2013. And I did so I love our industry, very passionate about it. I want to make it better. I want to protect consumers. And so not only did I become a member, but I worked to become a board member and then, eventually a president. So, it's super important to me and my team, just like you guys as members with this association, that we work hard to make contractors better and help consumers out.
And we have to help them if storms like this are hitting Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that thing.
Yeah, I think they need a roof, if not a whole house.
So what the hell do I do if that hits my house?
Well, you go on rcat.net and you can actually scroll down, find a contractor within your area. You can do search criteria within a certain mileage. That way you can find somebody close to you that has already gone through the process of vetting themselves and really giving you that peace of mind.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hey, in North Texas, or Texas in general, we deal with these storms every single year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, my community alone has been hit like 9 times in the last 7 years. So it's not just the roof, though. I mean, your roof is damaged, and we're all roofing contractors, but most storm restoration contractors who specialize in roofing in Texas also can help with everything else, right? Roof is going to hit your gutters, your window screens, your fence, your chimney chase, chimney cap, garage door. It affects the entire home. I mean, look at all that personal property behind you is getting beat up right now.
Oh yeah. What I think to that point, I think what homeowners need to know, and this may just be my opinion, but the guys that are out there that are only doing the roofs are doing it because it's the easiest low-hanging fruit, right? It's as far as the margin, right? So it's the biggest piece of the pie.
Right.
And so, you make margin on the gutters, you make margin on the window screens, but I mean, it's small potatoes by comparison. So you have these companies out there, to your point, that are, well, we only do roof or gutters, the really simple stuff. So if you're out there and you're dealing with a situation like what we got going on back here, it's a lot more than your roof and gutters that are damaged. I mean, we have not even window screens. We're talking about windows. We're talking about pool coping, things like that. And so having somebody that can do your roof that is also part of this organization that can help you GC all the other stuff and really make you whole at the end of the day basically prevents you from having to turn into your own GC, take time out of your day, dealing with this whole business. Let the experts do it.
Sure, and be careful. I mean, Texas is unregulated.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we don't have any type of insurance requirements, training, registration, nothing. I mean, anybody can become.
Anyone can be a roofer?
Yeah.
Anyone?
For $29.
The lady that did your nails, she's licensed, but we're not. I don't understand.
She's not licensed to do my roof, I bet.
She's not.
Just to do my nails.
That's right.
But
So anybody can be a roofer.
those additional licenses are kind of bananas when you think about it. And
Right.
Estheticians, you operate a motor vehicle. All these things require a license. You have to go with aptitude in that arena. And the fact that there's no state umbrella for people doing major surgery, because make no mistake, guys, it is major surgery. When you're doing a roof, it is major surgery on your home. You're taking thousands of pounds off and you're putting thousands of pounds back on. And in that process, things are falling off the roof. And if you have catching systems and tarping set down so you don't destroy your landscaping, it's a big deal.
So it's not just a roof?
Huh?
It's not just a roof?
It's not just a roof. It's not just a roof. And so when I hear people tell me like, oh, well, the roof is the roof, I'm like, well, by definition, I guess you're right. But the application of that roof really matters. It really matters. And all the little nuances, leak points. I mean, water doesn't need but this much to work its way in. And next thing you know, you have bad drywall. And if you don't catch it in time, then you have mold, respiratory problems, health risks, things like that. So it's a big deal. And obviously everybody at this table knows that it's a big deal, but the people on the other side of this may not know the gravity of the decision they're making today as relates to down the road, for the run down the road.
But I think consumers assume that, okay, they've got roofing in their name, they've got contractor in their name. If I go to a nail place to have my nails done, I see the licensing on their wall. Mm-hmm. If you go to the doctor, you see the MD on his wall or her wall. Yep. I think consumers assume that if you've got that in your name, that you must be licensed.
Right.
They don't understand that in Texas, you don't have to have that.
Yeah, and that's the purpose of these videos. That's the purpose of these videos. Yes. So we can help people watching this understand that there is no license for this, for roofing, and really general contracting in general. I see people all the time, and this is a really good point that I just thought about, but I want to bring up, is there are a bunch of companies, and I caught one just the other day, saying that they're licensed. No seal, no nothing. And I know that they're not. And the people that are in the know in this arena know that they're not. But they use it because they're banking on the people reading it like, oh, okay, they're licensed. Like you said, like, yeah, I'm gonna make that assumption. And that assumption, if they're willing to lie about their credentials, it's almost like the deductible conversation. If they're willing to cover your deductible and commit insurance fraud to get your business, what else are they willing to do?
Sure.
Well, they're licensed to drive.
It's a matter of
they thought
integrity
that's
at that
what
point.
they meant.
Yeah,
you know,
right. Yeah,
they didn't know what kind of license.
I'm licensed to drive to your house.
Yes.
To jump on your roof. Yeah, that's what that
Good
is.
point.
Yeah, that's what that is.
So what do they do? What do consumers do? I mean, RCAT, we did develop a licensing program because we weren't able to get licensing passed in the state. I mean, we haven't given up on that, but it hasn't happened yet. So we created our own licensing program. There's about 280 contractors that have voluntarily taken that test and continue to maintain their CEU hours in their license. And what that says is that, hey, those contractors are dedicated to the craft and knowing how to build a roofing system properly, and are dedicated to protecting their consumers or their customers and the communities they serve. And that's huge. So if they're saying they're licensed, it's just important that, hey, check it out. Are they RCAT licensed? Because if they're just saying they're licensed, they're probably not telling you the truth, right?
Yeah.
And then check with the BBB. Check, big manufacturers like GAF, Certainty, two of the largest in the nation. They have programs. They have certified contractor program. They have like master, programs. Is that contractor a part of that? So I guess what I'm saying is, like, what does a consumer do when they get hit with a storm like this? They got 20 people lined up at the door knocking on it. Their phones are ringing off the hook. What do? I mean, they've got to find somebody to trust as a professional to restore their home. And there's a ton of guys to choose from out there. How do you weed through it? Right? I mentioned a couple of them, but what's y'all's thoughts?
Well, I'm a big proponent in people just taking pause, because you and I both know, like we've been through numerous hailstorms. You and I have been through hailstorms like this, like just catastrophic. But that's not the norm. This is not the norm. The norm is going to be 1.5 inches, 2 inch, somewhere around there, and that's not going down to the deck. And if it does, it probably it's an old roof, 10 years old, 15 years old, something like that. Obviously, the older the roof, the more susceptible it is to hail damage, even smaller hail. But this idea that, look, we're out right after the storm, but the reality here is that people think that, oh my gosh, I got to act now. There's a sense of urgency. But the reality here is, it's a sense of urgency in the sense that it is your home and you need to repair it, keep it in good order so that you don't have leaks and pop-up waterfalls in your bedroom, kitchen, whatever. But I think that some contractors kind of play on that fear of
creating
like,
sense of urgency.
Yeah, it's like it's creating almost a sense of urgency that's not really there. Like, yes, it's damaged. Yes, it needs to be addressed, but does it need to be addressed the day after? Like, you need it. That's what I'm saying. Take pause. Look at RCAT. Look at BBB. I mean, there are plenty of avenues that you can exhaust to find out if a contractor is about it. If they're, it's not even a situation of, do you have a brick and mortar office? Okay, well, if you do or you don't, do you have insurance? BBB, at least accredited. RCAT and TRCA. If you're outside of North Texas, there are like 6 total like sub chapters of RCAT. So these are all ways that consumers can vet a contractor and get at least some semblance of a peace of mind, because having the guy at the door the night after, and look, my company does this thing, but we don't play on the fear. Right. Like, hey man, you got damage, let me help you with it. You want to check us out? Cool.
Take your time.
Take your time, man. Like, we're the real deal. I'm not worried about it. Right. And so we don't have to really resort to the fear mongering kind of situation. But if there's anything that I can advise to consumers, is to just give it a second. Just take a deep breath. Like, the guy that's showing up on your door, making it sound like your house is about to fall down because it's made of matchsticks, it's not real. I mean, it just, I'm not saying you shouldn't go with that guy. I'm just saying, like, give yourself a second. Google is your friend. Go on there, find out who this person's about, what their company's about, how long they've been in business, and so on and so forth.
And go ahead.
If that company's legitimate, they're going to be there tomorrow after they've taken the break, after you've taken the breather. But I think it's also important for homeowners to remember that they do need to act within a reasonable time with their insurance company. And when possible, before another storm, because you run into those policy periods where homeowners can have damage from one storm and then you change insurance companies. They're like, oh no, we're not going to cover that. That's from a previous storm. So we want to make sure that homeowners are in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah, you want to prevent damages
Yes.
too, but you don't rush to make a decision.
Right.
You know, I still hear every now and then, my insurance agent or carrier is telling me to get 3 bids, right? And which you don't have to do as a homeowner. We all use the same pricing software, the same measurement resources. It all comes down to the scope of work. They're only going to pay a fair market value to repair your home. But I tell folks, hey, interview 3 contractors, right? You know, interview me, interview the next 2 guys, and just find someone you're comfortable with. Because at the end of the day, your cost is the same. It's your deductible. At the end of the day, that's what it is. So find who you're comfortable with, who you feel good about, who has your best interest in mind, and then roll with them, right? Just don't make a quick decision on who that is, right? Take your time. Because again, we are unregulated, unlicensed. There's like 6,000 roofers in DFW. When we have one of these big storms happen, everybody floods that market. And it's not just DFW, it's Houston, Austin, South Texas, everywhere in Texas. When we have these storm events, the market's flooded with roofing contractors.
You know, AJ, you say there's 6,000 roofers in Texas, but after a storm like this, isn't it funny how that number suddenly increases?
Oh, yeah.
And that's just in North Texas, from what I hear. And it's really hard to get a good pinpoint exactly how many contractors are, because there's no requirements. So you get a DBA, or you just run around AJ's Roofing or Mike's Roofing. You don't necessarily have to have an LLC or insurance regulation. So that's just based on numbers we've seen through like Dun and Bradstreet and with the state as far as companies registering, but who knows how many there really are.
All I know is that after a storm, when I roll into a neighborhood, it's really colorful with all the different signs. And I mean, there's oftentimes no duplicates. I go in there, like there are 200 homes and there's like 205 signs. And I'm like, how does the math work out on this? And everybody's different. And so look, I'm not knocking anybody's hustle. You go out there, you don't have to be a big time guy where I know who you are to be legitimate. But the fact that there are so many, I heard it was 5,000, but now that you say 6, I'm like, I'm a believer.
Knows?
Who knows?
I'm going off damn pits.
But either way, there's a lot of options out there, and there are a lot of great guys.
Yeah.
And a lot of those great guys are part of this organization.
They really are.
But there's also a lot of just janky roofers, guys that just either don't know or don't care to know and just want to take the money and run. So that's where that pause comes in. Just like, hey, it's not, your house is not about to fall down. It's just hail. Yes, to Jeannie's point, take appropriate action within a reasonable amount of time. But I mean, it doesn't need to be within 24, 48 hours.
You and I both seen it in 2016. Early March, we had a hailstorm that was in a community that was significant, and it justified a lot of roof replacements. 3 weeks later,
I know exactly.
We had 4-inch hail, and a lot of these people had already filed their claims or replaced their roof, and now they're filing claim number 2, right? A horrible, horrible situation to be in. And it happens. Yeah. It's kind of happened in our markets here recently too, in 2022. But, so the benefit of hiring an RCAT contractors, that they are insured and their insurance covers roofing, right? They have been in business for at least a year. They've signed off on a code of ethics, which includes, taking care of the consumer, doing the right thing, building roofing systems or whatever system you're building in accordance with code and manufacturer specifications. There's a lot of benefit in hiring a RCAT contractor. And then you have your licensed contractors with RCAT licensed guys. And they've stepped their game up even further, right? And if there's an issue when working with an RCAT contractor that's not being resolved, you have the opportunity to reach out to RCAT and say, hey, we need help here. But for the most part, the members of RCAT, these guys are, it's a community, right? It's a brotherhood. We help each other out, right? I know I can call Mike or Jeannie anytime and ask for assistance, and they know they can call me. And it's really helped me personally, from a personal point. It's helped me grow my business. It's helped me take on jobs that I probably wouldn't have taken on otherwise, because I wouldn't have had the resources to understand exactly how to do it. But now I do, right? I can call up some of these guys that I've built relationships with and be like, hey, what would you do in this situation? Who do I call? What's going on here? And it's such a huge benefit, right? So you mentioned earlier, we have like 800 members in the state of Texas.
800, yeah.
Yeah, 280 licensed. there should be more. There should be more
Should be way more.
contractors that are involved in RCAT. It's
Yeah.
only going to benefit them.
I believe so. I'm a firm believer, and that's why I've gotten with Sarah, and I really wanted to serve. Maybe not in your capacity. Former president. I mean, it seems like a big role, but I wanted to serve on a committee, and public relations and marketing kind of worked. With what I kind of do on every day, anyways. But it also affords me the ability to really talk to contractors. I mean, I could talk to contractors before, but really talk to them from a place of, hey, why not?
Right.
Like, why not come in and bring yourself into the fold? Because, I mean, the price that you're paying to become a member and a licensee, it pays itself back in dividends with the education that you're getting, the peace of mind and the reassurance that you can then, with that seal, you can then give that homeowner. Like, it's a no-brainer to me.
Sure.
And so I can't get over the idea of people not. But I understand that people have apprehension and it's placed within them somewhere. But to
me, there's 3 different levels of membership of the RCAT. This is just me thinking out loud and taking an outsider's look at it. You're a member just to be a member and to have the logo and to participate like at the trade event, whatever, or go to the fishing tournament or some of these cool things that we do. And then you have the licensed contractor member, right, that takes another step up. And then you got the guys that are serving on the board or serving in these committees, right? If you need change, if you feel like there's change that's needed in your industry, you have to jump in there and serve and be a part of that change. And I don't think that some of our members realize that they have that ability. They can step up anytime and jump on this board or jump on a committee and help be a part of changing our industry for the positive and protecting consumers. And we need more of that.
So what is the first step for that? Like, what, for those people that just joined RCAT and they're going, okay, I filled this out, I paid my dues, what do I do now? What happens next?
So you have a great support staff within RCAT that's there. It's going to make sure you have all the login credentials you need to access to online materials, training materials. But I mean, you can call any of those members, especially board members. You can reach out and call any of those at any time, and they're going to be there for you. They're going to answer questions. I get random text messages all the time from people I've never met before, never know, like, hey, Jay, I'm so-and-so with, so-and-so company. How do I become licensed, or how do I get more involved? And I'm always happy to stop and answer those things. And I know, most of the board, the guys I know personally, are happy to do the same thing too. They thrive on it. They love it. But before I became a member in these trade associations, I really would have looked at you and been like, oh, that's my competitor. I don't even want to talk to him, right?
Yeah.
But once I got involved, I realized, like, man, I can really, we could benefit each other. Why do I got to look at that guy across the room as a competitor? Why can't I look at it like, hey, what's working for you and what's not working for you, and like really collaborate on some things and better my business, maybe help him better his business, right? Maybe work together to create some change within our community that helps our consumers out, right?
Yeah.
So,
Great example of that. And I know you got this email too. Remind me who sent it. But it was just a list of, hey, I have this extra material hanging around. It's hard to find right now. Do you remember this email?
Yeah. It's Sherry Johnson,
Yes.
Johnson Roofing. That's the other thing. You got
That's
members
wonderful.
that are monster roofing companies, and all the way down to us little guys. And I consider myself a little guy. And we're all here helping each other.
Yes.
And Sherry, Johnson Roofing, they had access to a lot of materials to do a lot of commercial roofs. You do too,
Yes.
right? Well, me as a little guy, I'm over here trying to put on a little 20 square tapered roofing system, and I'm having a hard time finding double A taper. Well, I call up one of these bigger commercial guys, and they can get it for me like that.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that? I would never be able to do the job otherwise. And
Because
in
we're
fact-
here for each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, community is a big thing, and honestly, when I chose to be a member, part of that was the community. I really wanted to, like you said, I really wanted to be at the forefront of the change. I admittedly, I've kind of lost faith in the state doing what I feel they should do. But which ultimately really makes me dig in on the RCAT side,
Right.
because if we can't get it over here, we have to make change on our own.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're never going to give up on the government relations side. It's a
Oh,
long
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like that's.
I hear you. It's a long game though. It's like we're taking a little bitty bite off every single time, and every session, RCAT becomes better known in Austin. We have more power when we come in there. Our words matter, our bills matter, and they know who we are. They know we're not playing around when we come up there. So we're going to continue to make changes at a state level, no doubt in my mind. We've got a great, we have a great lobbyist group, and obviously we have great minds as support staff of RCAT that's keeping us headed in the right direction. Mm-hmm. And then, the talent that comes into RCAT as board members, I mean, it's just insane where all this talent comes from, and these folks that are really dedicating their time to better the industry. So,
absolutely. Mm-hmm. Keep us professional.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So if you're not a member, what are you waiting for? Let's make that happen.
RCAT.net.